Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots. Builders, Just, Laser, Spaces, Vassals, Meat Sacks, Pink Slime. I'm a useful idiot, and today I'd like to talk about pension shortfalls and state and city budget implosions. Pretty exciting topic, and I'll try and make it a little more exciting because I'm going to bring some common sense to this issue, and I think that will make it exciting. And that's the basic idea that we have state and city budget implosions going on across the country. Of course, most notably in the last couple of years, the bankruptcy of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Jefferson County, Alabama, and recently Stockton, California. We have a number more cities and states coming up to the block. Of course, California and Illinois are suffering greatly. Austerity has come to the United States in a lot of these cities, and we're seeing great American cities in very sad death spirals like Detroit. And much of the Midwest is going in that direction. And we have hundreds of schools being closed in Chicago. We have 40 schools being closed in Philadelphia. Whole police force laid off in Camden, New Jersey. And a lot of public workers were laid off, and a lot of them were rehired. And of course, one of the problems is the bureaucracy remains intact. And local governments are just like the federal government. The biggest problem is a bloated bureaucracy. And we could afford a lot more social services on a national and a local level if our bureaucracies were reduced. But of course, they are never reduced. And so anyway, and of course, this story has been in the news a lot, and that's why I'm covering it, because I have some observations on this. And the most recent one is pension crisis looms despite cuts. And the reason why I want you to think about this is because they quote a figure of being $900 billion short in a retirement funding gap for state city worker pensions. $900 billion. And just a couple months ago, we had another article in the Wall Street Journal, states to face new pressure over pensions, where there was new accounting rules that were going to force them to front more money towards their pension funds. And that gets to the heart of the problem of, or one of the hearts of the problems that we have with the pension shortfall. So the problem is twofold, and that is the fact that indeed state and city workers have lavish pay packages, lavish benefits and health benefits packages, and lavish pensions. And to put this in perspective, for example, if you work as a city and a state worker, you get to spend every last dime you have because you're going to get a fat pension when you retire. So you can spend every dime you have. But me as a taxpayer and as a citizen, I have to maintain my life. I have to pay for my taxes, which pay for those benefits for you, and I have to put money aside for retirement. So I have a wider spectrum of where my resources go. And for retirement, they have to be substantial. So that is a huge advantage. And then the fact that when people think about state and city workers, they have to make sure to separate the wheat from the chaff. I really don't have too much problem with the way how much teachers are paid. In fact, I would rather have teachers paid more to attract better talent to teaching. And but I have a problem with policemen who double dip and retire at the age of 50 and have very lavish pensions and have a cronyist system that allows them to inflate their wages to increase their retirements. And I also have a problem with the fact that garbage workers and recyclers in my city make $100,000 a year and have fat pensions and free health benefits. It just doesn't seem fair. And I know for you city and state workers that have it, you feel you deserve it, you got that job, you're entitled, and I can appreciate that. But I'll tell you what, it's not fair. And you can't resent anyone for looking at just the math and the justice of it and having some issues. And so we have all these states. So the other part of the problem, besides the lavish wages and benefits, is the fact that states and cities are notorious for not contributing the required amounts to their pension funds. And then you combine that with the fact that these pension funds, just like these state governments, count on their investments compounding at 8% a year. Well, who has been getting 8% a year in the last 5 years since the collapse? Nobody. CalPERS, the biggest retirement outfit pension outfit in California, counts on 8% a year, and all their projections and all their payouts are based on 8% a year, and they've been getting less than 1% a year. And that's the same thing the state governments do with their own accounting. So the problem is twofold. It's lavish benefits and pay promised in the good times to those who sign on to state and government city work, and the fact that money hasn't been being contributed to the pensions. And it's as simple as that. And of course we know that state and local governments are all the same, and we'll focus in on just 6 states to show the creative ways that they cook their books and manage their budgets in order to hide all their devastating shortfalls. California borrows money just to generate cash. New York delays paying tax refunds and raids several state funds. New Jersey borrowed money against tobacco settlements of the future. Virginia failed to make required payments to its pensions, which they all do. Illinois has billions in unpaid bills and borrows just to pay into its pension fund. Texas delays $2 billion in payments for a month at a time. Just that, enough interest that they say can keep their budget together. But more importantly, what I want to bring up is the fact that in this Wall Street Journal article I was mentioning, they quoted $900 billion. But this is part of the problem. They live in this fantasy land. And just a couple months ago, there was a state budget crisis task force headed by Paul Volcker and Richard Lavish. It was the first complete study of state finances conducted without the involvement of state government groups. So when you have the state government groups involved, of course they cook the books, so nobody will know just how bad it is. So now we have an independent study, and they came up with the figure of $4 trillion in unfunded liabilities for pensions and health care for their state workers. And that doesn't include all the revenue shortfalls, counting on property taxes that aren't coming in, just their reduced revenue base in all the states and cities. So there is a big part of the problem. $900 billion is the figure that the states and cities are working with, and an outside look at their figures came up with $4 trillion, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is over 4 times the amount. And Volcker and Lavish said that they are dire financial portrait, major cuts to social services, and there will be threats to social order, and that shifting spending between budget categories makes budgets a complete illusion. And they have revenue projections that are wrong because of weak planning, lack of transparency, and miscalculation. So you can see how the state and local governments serve as a great training ground for those people going into federal government. And then the states and cities also had to wrestle with the increased costs of the Medicaid prescription expansion during the Bush administration. So there we have it. There is a picture of this grim implosion we have in state and city budgets, and we're going to continue seeing more and more of this, because to give you a snapshot, from 2007 to 2011, state and local governments shortchanged their pension contributions by $50 billion. That's a lot. On the local level, it's $1 billion for each state in the union. And this amount will snowball, the interest will snowball year after year as the local government counts on compounds of 8% a year, which is not happening. So this death spiral will continue to happen. They're trying to make up for it, not by raising taxes, although a lot of taxes are going up, but also increasing all the fees. So I'm sure every state and union is seeing all their fees at least double. So here we have it. We have a pension shortfall that will not end anytime soon, although some of the investments have recovered. So there has been a little ease in that strain. But we have a lot of stress, and this will not sustain. And the entire entitlement program for state and city workers will have to come to an end. It is just plain unsustainable. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.